Hello everyone, this is kind of a short video that I added to explain something else that's in the introduction module in course content. One thing I do when I teach this course is I kind of use it to analyze the courses in the program. So if I see the testing stuff is not very good, then I go back and try to look at SWEN 647. And so I use it as a way to validate the program. So in the fall we had 4 teams, and there was a couple problems. 2 of the teams turned in project plans that were not project plans. They were so bad that they were not project plans. One of them had like 80% of it was requirements. It's like, you don't put your requirements in your project plan. Then if your requirements change, if somebody changes a requirement, your plan's still the same. So I went and talked to the guy who manages iTech 640 and said, look, I don't know who you're turning out, but they can't write a project plan. And I used to teach iTech 640 years ago. So I'm not really sure he's going to do anything, which kind of made me a little disappointed. But anyways, I assume if you have a team of 5 people and you turn in a document that bad, that not just one person doesn't know how to write a project plan, but none of them know how to write a project plan. Because one, if I remember correctly, was just incredibly bad. I forget why. One of them, it was a requirement document. There was like nothing about the plan to build the software. It was all basically requirements. And that kind of worried me, because if you don't have a project plan, it's really hard to go forward. The goal is you don't learn any new material in this course. But the last semester, it was so bad and caused so many problems because, I can't look at this document and evaluate you in future milestones. That I went ahead and put some material on project plans. So one is, so this is in introduction, course content introduction. There's a project plan resources. The best one, and there's many different ways to build a project plan. The most common is PMBOK. You can use whatever you want. It doesn't matter. PMBOK is probably the easiest and most common. I would say more than half of the ones I've ever seen have been PMBOK. We used to teach PMBOK in iTech 640. You would get a copy of the PMBOK is Project Management Body of Knowledge, and it's just a book. And then a few years ago, they wanted to have free textbooks. Remember that? Maybe you weren't here then. But anyways, there was a point, and they can't have PMBOK. But the UMUC library has Books 24/7, which has PMBOK in it. So if you want to go look at PMBOK, and normally each chapter is a section, it'll tell you what's in a project plan. And I also added, let's see, I got 2 computers up on one computer in the back. I got a couple other documents that you can go and look through there that are like Creative Commons things that talk about project management plans. So that's why I put it in. I hope I can remove it someday. I hope I can get to the point where I have confidence that people can write a project plan and there's nothing new to learn. Hopefully when you look at this, you'll be like, yeah, I knew that, which is good. Another thing I noticed is that the testing was pretty poor in the fall. And I think I'm going to go back and kind of reanalyze the material. Like I remember distinctly, I had one team. This was strange, man. It was like none of them took iTech 647. One of them had a test suite with only like 3 test cases, and they were kind of like paragraphs. And then when they ran it, their output, their test report saying if stuff passed and failed was paragraphs. So it was like descriptions. And I try to tell them, like, you need, probably like 50 test cases for this. 50 atomic, every test case should be atomic. You can't subdivide it. And your report should be if it passed or if it failed, and if it failed, it gave this error, or it said 7 instead of 2 or whatever, but not like paragraph and paragraphs. So instead of making the way it's taught in iTech 640 and used in industry, it was like they had one test case for every major component of the software. And I look at that and I'm thinking, I just had some peanuts. I saw that and I think, like, how could 5 people look at that and submit it and say this is a test suite? But I'm going to go back and try to reanalyze 647 and see if maybe we can make some stuff more apparent. Okay, that's it. Oh, one final thought. I don't know why I didn't have this in. One of the fears students have is if we don't get done, we're going to fail. And don't worry about that. There are teams that do not get done, and they still pass. I always tell our customers, in industry, if you give a software team a firm deadline, only about 50% of the time do they deliver. We, about 75% of the time, deliver. So I think we're better than industry, and that's what I tell them. But I tell every customer there's a 25% chance they're not going to get done. Now, the other thing is no one has ever written out the requirements of these projects to know if they can even be done in 12 weeks. You know, if someone comes in and goes, yeah, I want some, I have an insurance company, so I need, claim processing. Well, that's like 5 million lines of code. You're not going to do that in 12 weeks. So what some teams do, if they get to a point and they say, we can't build this in 12 weeks, is they do a part of it. They say, okay, we're going to do this part. We're going to do the, user management, whatever. And then you can have future capstones or internally build other pieces and finish it. And that's fine. Don't, tell the customer, oh yeah, we can build insurance claim processing, and then, you don't have it done at the end. It's better for you to say, look, that can't be done in 12 weeks. Why don't I'll build the part where you can submit a claim. That, I think, can be done in 12 weeks. And sometimes, even though you pick a right group, as you're going through the project, sometimes things happen and, it doesn't get finished and you got nothing of any value at the end. And that's okay, so you're kind of judged on the work you do and the decisions you make. And sometimes, not always can you deliver. It's just the way it is. I tell customers who are not technically savvy that software is the most complicated thing mankind has ever built. Truly. If you look at a modern day car has about 4,000 pieces. Because 4,000 parts, you put them all together, you got a car. It's taken us 100 years more than 100 years of building cars to build the quality of cars we have today, which is not perfect. A piece of software is going to have, your software you build is going to have more than 4,000 lines of code. So it's going to be more complicated than a vehicle. And sometimes building it doesn't get done. Things happen. Things you think are easy become phenomenally hard. There are things you haven't thought about. Sometimes technologies get in the way. And there's nothing that can be done. So don't have this fear that if you don't get the software done, you're going to fail the course or something bad's going to happen or something like that. Sometimes people do that and they think, well, don't build any documents. Let's just code because we got to have code done or else we're going to fail. It's not the case. Okay? Any other questions? Let me know. All right. Thanks a lot.